Hi guys, in this video we're going to look at reverse reverbs, an effect which you'll use quite a lot to introduce new elements, particularly vocals. They're most handy when you need to bring in something cold rather than filtering it in. Like most techniques we use when making mashups, we use reverse reverbs to prevent the audience from getting confused. In order to help them get sonically prepared for a sound, we take a small section of the audio they're about to hear and use it to create a reverse reverb. Here's how we do it. Fortunately, it's not difficult to create a reverse reverb within your Ableton session. Here we can see a previous example where we wanted to bring in a vocal over another track. At the moment, the vocal comes in a little suddenly and the listener isn't prepared for it. So we can create a reverse reverb into the vocal, which gives the audience a sense of the pitch information as well as the sonic feel of the a cappella. Firstly, we select a piece that we want to use. Generally, this means the first note, or whatever pitch and tone information you think will lead the audience in the best.
Away, cry away, away, cry away, away.
Then copy it to the end of your session and move it down to a track that you're not using. Next, we want to create a really big reverb that will last at least 10 seconds. If you have one, you can simply borrow a big reverb off your return track and copy it onto your reverse reverb track. Change any decay time or EQ settings you want to in the reverb to make sure that the reverse reverb is going to sound nice and clear. Make sure you have your settings to 100% wet because you don't want any of the original vocal coming through. You want 100% reverb sound. However, like most reverbs, we want to try and clean it up down the bottom end to make sure it doesn't create any unwanted mud. Move your EQ 8 until it's positioned after the reverb, and then set one of the bands to high pass mode. High pass all the frequencies around 350, and have a listen to your vocal snippet to make sure that it hasn't ruined the presence of the vocal. Once you're positive it feels good, select a range from the start of the snippet to around 10 to 15 seconds later, depending on how long your decay time was. Go to File and export it using the regular export settings. Make sure you place the file in the same folder as your mashup in case you end up opening it from another location later on. Then go to the folder and drag it onto the timeline on a new track. We can hear that our exported version is exactly the same, only it appears as a single WAV file. Go into the clip settings for the clip, turn off any warping, and press the Rev button to reverse the sample. This means that the timeline will play the sample in reverse. Have a listen to how it sounds. Though reverse reverb is something impossible to create in nature, our ears are able to interpret it in a similar way to regular reverb. If you're not happy with the snippet that you've used as the audio source, go back and bounce another one. Otherwise, move the clip to the correct location just before the a cappella comes in. When we set our reverb decay to at least 10 seconds, we were being quite generous. But once you've got it in the mix, you can use volume automation to make it come in as quickly as you like. A few seconds is really all the ear needs to familiarize itself with the tone. It usually sounds best if you do a quick crossfade out just before the audio stops as well. Play around with the timing of the reverse reverb clip, as well as the volume automation, to make sure that it sounds like the reverb is smoothly joining into the vocal. If done correctly, it should sound like the vocal is being sucked into existence. And by the time the first lyric hits the listener's ears, they'll already be familiar with the pitch, frequency, and tone information of the vocal, making it less of a shock on the dance floor. Mashups aside, dance music producers use this trick all the time within tracks, and it's for the same reason, to help communicate to the listener when there's a vocal about to come in. Using reverse reverbs doesn't have to stop at just a cappellas either. They can be a very handy tool for bringing in elements when there are other issues preventing you from transitioning them properly. Two elements may have clashing chord information or rhythm information that make it hard to transition over a full 8 bars. So it can be very handy to create a reverse reverb of the first beat of the new element. If you do this, try and grab a piece of audio just after the kick drum so that there's not a huge amount of bottom end kick information scattered all over the reverb. When combined with other techniques like using your own reverse samples or added drum builds, using a reverse reverb like this can make all the difference in helping a full element come in smoothly. In the next video, we'll look at hinting and linking, methods you can use to subtly join elements together within your mashup, helping the audience to experience it as a single song. Thanks for watching.